Hello and welcome to Paradigm Playbook, a podcast for entrepreneurs in the business of sports. Your hosts, Dave Kozak and Steve Cook, are business owners, successful entrepreneurs, sports enthusiasts, avid readers, and longtime friends. For years, they've read every business book on the market and built successful companies with what they've learned. This podcast will give you the critical takeaways in just 15 minutes a week. It's a quick and easy playbook for building a winning sports business. And now, here are your hosts, Dave and Steve.
Do you want your business to thrive? Visit us at paradigmplaybook.com and contact us today for expert assistance. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Paradigm Playbooks podcast. I'm your host, Dave Kozak, alongside my co-host, Mr. Steve Cook.
Morning, David.
Morning, sir. As always, we got our color man, Niall, in the background here.
Good morning. Good morning.
So today we've kind of gone through the sales progression. We did the prospecting, we did the presenting, and now we're doing the closing, which is turning a prospect into a client, right? Really the moment that the monetary exchange happens.
And this, I believe, is the area where in our world of sports entrepreneurs, there's more of an issue with this. There's a lot of people that say, well, I'm not a salesman. I can't do that. I can't do it. And I think first identifying why that's being said and then going to some of the techniques. I believe there's probably only two parts to this. One is the skill of selling. That's how you talk and overcome objections and all that. The second is the belief in what you're selling. And I think that's where the disconnect is that my friend Zig Ziglar always talked about. It's like, you got to believe in what it is. And if you're not closing, it's probably the belief's not strong enough.
Yeah, we always say people buy the person, not necessarily the product in our business, which is financial services and college planning. But there is a massive amount of cachet given to the salesperson who has that visceral belief in what they're doing, right? So you as a client see someone who is just, they are so dedicated to the particular product they're selling and the belief in it. You can't help but feel that. And so it makes that buying decision that much easier.
Yeah, I believe that the best salespeople are those that put the process in place that gets them to the point of closing, because that's the real skill, is how are you going to take that emotion that you've already created and show the customer the path to purchase, whether they're purchasing a lesson, a training session, consulting, a financial product, anything that you're getting into. People make decisions emotionally and then justify it logically. Yep. So you use the emotion of the moment. So if you're selling, in this instance, let's say we're getting someone to sign up for, a baseball class, or, and I have the perfect example at Grand Slam. It's easy for me to sell a baseball lesson with one of our coaches because I honestly 100% believe that any child that takes lessons with one of our coaches is better off than one that doesn't. So I always believe that when I'm selling, and when we get paid for our lessons and our coaches get paid, it's all a good business, but the winner is the student. Yeah. And as long as you believe that, so I don't think that belief should be difficult in any sports business. If you're selling now an MMA class, you have to believe that this is a life skill that's going to make that person better. Or in elite collegiate planning, it's the same thing. If any of your salespeople don't believe that after the customer buys this service, they're better off, then they shouldn't be selling it.
Correct. And I will tell you, in our process, that is one of the hardest things for someone who doesn't know enough to sell, right? So imagine if someone walks into a gymnastic facility, baseball facility, pick the sport, and the person responsible for selling never played a sport a day in their life, knows nothing about the development, the the kind of excess contribution team building brings into play, being a component and a team member, and they don't have that belief, they're not going to sell a 20 lesson pack.
Right.
They may get the person to buy one, right? But if you don't know, sometimes it's hard to get that belief structure. And so a lot of the training that we do is teaching the entirety of the system, and from financial aid to college admissions to financial planning to all of it, teaching that first, and then positioning someone with enough knowledge that is, they can go and share their belief in what the company is doing. One of the other things I've learned along the way is that the person selling doesn't necessarily have to have the belief themselves, but they have to have the belief in the company, the product, or the person that they're turning that client over to. And so one of the things we talk about in our organization is like, if you're not convinced that we can help a family, you need to be convinced that I can help the family. If you're not convinced you can help them, you got to be convinced I can help them.
Well, I talk about the first time I went to one of your seminars for elite collegiate planning. And after watching that, and I, at that point, was beyond having to put any kids through college. And, I had already made all those mistakes. But after being at that seminar, I didn't understand much of what was said by you or the other, associates, up front. I did buy into the fact that, wow, everybody should do this. It's like, now there are some people that can go and study and learn all the rules and regulations and study all the colleges and have the resources to tap into, everything. But this is so much easier, and I'm kicking myself saying, I wish I had known this, 20 years ago when my kids were going to college. I didn't, but it's the same thing. Gymnastics is a big part of my life. And I honestly believe that the world would be a better place if everybody did a little bit of gymnastics. Everybody. So it's easy for me to sell gym. So I don't understand when a club owner says, I'm not comfortable selling this. Well, you opened up a gymnastic club
you better
for a reason. I believe you do. It's that they're embarrassed to say it out loud. So I don't think anybody should be embarrassed by their beliefs. If we were having the discussion about, daily weight, weight training and things like that. And I can make that case because I believe in it. It's hard for me to sell hot yoga. It may be great for you. I don't understand it. So it would be hard for me to sell it.
Yeah. And, I think there's some alignment to sales too, right? You're not going to be opening a hot yoga gym.
Not this week.
Not this week. But at the end of the day, you do have a baseball facility. You have a facility that hosts birthday parties. You have a facility that rents space in turf fields and basketball courts, right? And the baseline of your belief is that every kid needs to be active, right? And so, hey, I don't care which active you want to be. I'm going to try and provide the space for it, and I can sell it on it. I think another thing people do more often than they should is overcomplicate sales.
Well, I agree. I think they overcomplicate it because if I knew everything about the college planning process and I wanted to get across to you, the client, that I did know everything, I would start telling you all that. And that's not how sales works.
Correct.
Sales works by identifying the biggest obstacle in your way. And so that's why we talk about more questions than answers. So through your presentation, you're asking questions, and sooner or later, it comes up. My child is just not social. He doesn't get along with other kids. So if we continue to sell the value of hitting 300 or hitting a fastball or being able to see a curveball or any of that, we're missing the point. What we need to sell with that class is they have a chance for peer interaction. So you have to sell to the obstacle in front of you. So as many salespeople will look at it and say, he just had every objection in the world. Well, if they're giving you their objections, they're helping you. Yeah. That's a plus in the process.
And I think if you really get good, your questions are bringing objections to the forefront, when they're not considered objections, they're talking points or they're reference points or they're solution points. And so typically when I'm done, and my sales process is huge and long, and we've got multiple appointments, we're crafting financial plans, we're crafting college admission strategies and all this. So it's months long where we're in this process. But at no point do I ever fall into telling someone what to do. I'm always asking the question, presenting the options, and getting them to say, well, this is how we want to do it. This is what we'd like to achieve. And so I think the key is always remembering that the other person will own the decision if brought to the right decision point. And the only way to do that is to get enough information out of them to present what they want. Your example is perfect. My kid doesn't get a lot of social interaction or is awkward. Well, that is the point that the parents care about, not that they're going to have the best baseball swing in the history of baseball swings coming out of the session, right? So I think we get distracted in the periphery, and I think assumption kills sales, right? You assume somebody wants something, and so you go down this path rather than actually exploring it. And directness is everything.
Well, I think if you start with asking open-ended questions, how did you find us? Or what brought you to, Paradigm Financial? Any question like that. And if the answer is, this is the closest gym to me, so it would be convenient. Well, then you start right in. Well, it's great. We have a 3:00 class that we could get Johnny in, so you don't even have to fight, traffic. So you play off the obstacle they put in front of you, which they've already overcome. If they say, we were referred to here because, our daughter's friend Susie comes here. Well, great. Let's look up what class Susie's in and see if we can, depending on the ability or how we can have them interact, or can we put them in an open gym setting where they can be together and socialize? There's a lot of ways to play off, but it starts with getting them, the customer or the prospect at this point, to talk to you.
Yeah. And I've always said that, and I've been in sales since 2006.
I'm still a rookie.
Agreed. Learn something every day. Sales is just customer service with a solution.
Yeah.
Right. That's all it is. So to do good customer service, no matter what environment you're in, you've got to understand what the person is expecting, which leads me to probably the most important part of closing deals and not getting people upset or having buyer's remorse or something like that, or feeling they made a mistake, is setting the clearest expectation you can, right? So here's what's going to happen. We're going to sign here. I'm going to sign you up for the Tuesday class. If that class isn't a fit for you, we're going to get you in the Wednesday class. If that isn't a fit, we're going to figure out a better solution, or you know what? We're going to return your money or refund your money, whatever the case may be. But setting those clear expectations so that person just knows what to do. Second only to following through on expectations that you set. If you set clear expectations and don't follow through, you will lose that client. You will lose your reputation and all that. So at the end of any interaction, I try and set as clear expectation as possible. So if I'm sitting with a client, we had everything out on the table, and my next meeting, I have an intent, or my next appointment, I have an intent, I'm going to tell them what my intent is right then and there. Say, all right, well, next time we meet, we're going to go through this and this. I'm going to present you some strategies and ideas that I think are reasonable. And then that's kind of the starting point. And if we don't like the strategies or ideas, we're going to pivot and we're going to go to the next. And we're going to try and, I always like a plan A, but sometimes you got to go with plan B. And so they know what they're walking into the next time.
Yeah. And if they don't buy into plan A, it's not a loss.
Correct.
It's progress in the right direction. I think if you listen carefully to what the prospect is telling you, there's details in this. So someone comes in and says, why are you here in our football training class? Well, his friend Bill, who's the quarterback at XYZ high school, seems to throw the best spiral. So at that point, what are we selling? We're selling a spiral. That's it. We don't have to talk about we're going to get them in better shape. We're going to get them faster. We're going to increase the speed. You're still going to deliver on everything you deliver. It just does not change your delivery. But the reason they're coming is they want to throw a better spiral.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to teach.
Paradigm Playbook offers business, reset, and expansion expertise. Visit paradigmplaybook.com to see how we can assist you. When you identify, and again, our process is kind of huge and comprehensive. So we're not selling. There's no other than our first appointments. We're selling it's an entire sales process. In the first appointment that we do, where we're actually that's when we sit down with someone and we have the ability they have the ability to buy services. It is 100% identifying the concerns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's again, you talk about the spiral. You're identifying concerns.
But in that presentation phase or qualifying phase, we'll call it, so qualifying can either be part of the presentation or part of the close, depending on how you're looking at it. But if they come in with a real general concern, we just don't think we can afford college.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a big picture. Well, let's drill this down. Is it that you can't avoid Harvard, or you can't afford Harvard, or you can't afford the local junior college? Which can't you afford? So let's narrow this down and get to a real point so we know what we're selling. But you can't go into that process thinking, okay, I'm going to have to find this family a way to get $60,000, a year. And what you're really trying to do is, just get,
Yeah. At that moment, I'm going, well, listen, you say you can't afford. What does that mean? You can't afford? You can't afford a single dollar to go towards college, or you can't afford to pay $80,000. And they clarify, and okay, so you can't afford to pay 80. They chose B. All right. Well, can you afford to pay 50, 40, 30? I'm zeroing in on that number, right?
And I believe that with your business or with any business, as soon as they give you that one thing, and let's say it's we can't afford anything for college. Well, that's perfect. That's why you're here. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. We help those that can't afford it find what they can afford and get them the education that the kids deserve. Same thing. My kid can't play. He's never played baseball. You found the perfect place. Yeah. That's what we do. We help you get there. My kid is pretty good, but he's not quite there. Perfect. You got here, and I've got the coach, and so-and-so coached him, and he went on to play in the College World Series and da-da-da-da-da. But I would never mention that to someone who says my child's never played baseball. I'm never going to say, well, we have 3 coaches that coached in the pros. I'm never going to say that.
Nope. There's two closing techniques that are well discussed, and I think that I use probably more than any other, which is one's called a takeaway close, right? Where you take it off the table and maybe this isn't for you. Oh, no, it's for me, yeah. Right? And then the second is comparative close, so we have a couple of different packages that we sell. And even when I'm selling mutual funds versus annuities versus life insurance, or I'm using financial instruments, well, we can do it this way. We can do it this way. We can do a combo. And, I personally think that the combo is the right way. But even in that, when we're selling a advanced program versus basic, and consider it a 10-pack of lessons versus a 20-pack of lessons, right? Like here's, this one's a little bit more expensive. I think it has a lot more to offer, but, I want to show you guys this one, and I'll show you kind of the difference of them. My recommendation is probably to go with A or B, whatever one you pick. In your case, right? Someone comes in, we want to get a group of lessons for our kid, and you're going, well, how many lessons are you guys thinking? Well, I don't know, Steve, what's a good number of lessons? And you go, well,
it depends on how much difference you want to make. So we have some players that come in for 5 to 10 lessons every year, and they do it before the season starts. We have others that train with us all year round. So you can, so Zig used to call it a multiple choice close, and the multiple choice close is you have 2 options, either of which you and I both win. Yeah. You pick whatever you want, but either way, you and I both win. And I think, it's one of the most basic closes. Another great close, again, I got a lot of my sales training from Zig, but he had the feel, felt, found. And that was someone comes in and says, my child's not social. And you say, I understand how you feel. The Smith family felt the same way. They found by putting their kid in this class, he became more. But so one, you show empathy, and you understand how they feel. 2, you give them company. You're not the only one that's been through this. 3, you give them a solution. And 4, you tell them what the results were. So you've taken them through the whole process, but it has to start with the client's need. And then you get them excited. And once you get somebody excited, the close is nothing more than handing them the pen that where they're
press
going to
hard,
sign.
third copy's yours.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, and I think what, everybody, you can screw up multiple choice closes at the same time, just so everybody knows. Like, I have 4 different packages. I'll only ever present 2 multiple choices. I never go to the 4 because you get analysis paralysis when you get into too many options, right? And so you can have the client, you present the 2 ways. Either way, we both win. I think that this is a better package for you, given everything you've talked about, given A, B, C, and D, which were their main objectives. I think branching closes, and that's where you start with 2 options. We offer this dinner with mild sauce or hot sauce. Well, I want hot sauce. Okay, well, we have super hot or, deadly hot, whatever. So then you keep narrowing it down and you get to that point. So we want baseball classes. We have individual lessons or group lessons. Well, I want group lessons. We have, Saturday or Sunday, so the multiple choice, it may not close it, but it narrows it to the point where the final act is nothing more than signing their name. And it's a very comfortable for the customer at that point because they've already made this decision. Chances are they've already made the decision before they walked in. You have to make it easy for them to spend that money. I think something else that people feel a way about is discounts, and they feel weird talking about or selling a discount because it feels salesy or something, right? And so, to give an example, we have a discount window where we give 10% off of the package price, but it's a 24-hour window. The idea behind the 24-hour window is simply this: you're never going to be more prepared to make the decision than when you leave our office. We're going to give you all the information to make that decision. If I give you a week, you're going to go home and you're going to think about it and overthink it and rethink it and do all this analysis. I want to incentivize you so that we can get the process started quickly. But I also respect your desire to think. So I'm going to give you 24 hours to think about it. And with that 24 hours, if you decide you're going to sign up for that, I'm going to give you a 10% discount. That is a perfectly reasonable, logical thing to explain to someone. But people go, well, we have this 24-hour discount and they get like crammed up about it. Or it's like, hey, we have a 10 package. They cost $100 per 20 package. They cost $75 per, right? You get a better deal at 20, but that's a bigger commitment. You guys got to decide how committed you are to improvement in the sport.
In the beginning of the process, there are questions you can ask that identify this. And some of the questions, and when I start going through them, you'll recognize them because everybody that's come to your house to sell you gutters or calls, on the phone to sell you solar panels or whatever. One, are you the owner of this house? Yeah. Are you the sole owner? So they're starting to hint at, do you make the decisions? Like, if I can convince you that this is a good investment for you long term, is this something that you can decide on today? If it's not, is there somebody else that would be involved in making this decision that we should get on the phone with us right now? So there's all these questions that are asked, and the more you think about it, all the good salespeople that you deal with on a daily basis are asking these questions. So you're subject to this. And it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. They're just trying to save the time of, and you're just, the point you made is never are you in a better position to make the decision to move forward. Once you move out of here, every day you're moving further away.
Yep.
So you want them at the highest level of excitement to make the decision. Now, if you don't feel good about that, then maybe you have to go back to the very beginning of what I said. Let's check on our beliefs. Where are our beliefs? If we know we're doing our best job, if we get that child to sign up today. So I talk to a lot of groups in the gymnastics world, a lot of gymnastic club owners. And I tell them, when someone comes in to take a class, the number one result for you is they sign up for a class with you. The number two is you sell them on gymnastics and they sign up with a class with some other gym. Mm-hmm. But number one, get them into the sea of customers that are in your world. And they say then a rising tide lifts all boats. And that's the next thing. So sell them on what you're doing. One, if they're not going to enlist your services, convince them they need someone's services to put their child through college in the most affordable and efficient way. And then if it's not you, then look inside it yourself.
Yeah, and I tell salespeople two very important things when they sit in a consultation with a family that has these concerns. The first is they came into your office for a reason. Gym owners, sports facilities, they came into your office for a reason. They walked in the front door. They're exploring. They don't want to shop. They want to sign up. And so you got to believe that. Mm-hmm. And you got to address it. The second thing is in our case, the first appointment's an hour. For that hour, that person's absolutely the most important person. Their situation is the most important situation. You're not thinking about anything else. You're focused on them. They need to feel that importance. And so I think at the same time, if and this is why we talk about everybody sells, right? At a facility. If someone walks in the door to your athletic facility and the person behind the counter says, "Hey, how are you? Can I help you?" And for that moment in time, it is a tractor being most important person. That's the customer service way, and good customer service leads to all sales, right? You're just doing your responsibility. And if you focus on that person in that interaction, make the person across the table from you or across the gym from you or the counter from you the most important person, and you're going to get a lot of deals.
There's small tricks within selling and customer service. And you always make the point that the two are so close that why do we even separate them? But you're either selling, pre-selling, during selling, or post-selling. So two things. One is, as soon as you get a hard no, should always elicit the same question. Can I ask you how you made up your mind to not do this? Because if it's something that you did, you need to learn from it. So you either have a sale or a learning experience. Yeah, a sale or a lesson. And you have to take one of the two of those things out of there. And then there's something very simple about if you're selling something, and yeah, it's so funny when we do acting, what do we call it? We're laying out a situation and pretending we're doing role play. That's what I was trying to think.
Oh, you really nailed it.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't say anything negative to you there. Okay. But we always say, well, Mr. Prospect, do you do that? But the key thing is replacing that prospect with a real name. So they say the more you repeat a person's name, the closer you are to being a friend. Mm-hmm. And people like buying from friends. I think you said that people buy from people they like. So building those connections along the way, along the process is a big part of it. I talk about, we do a lot of birthday parties, and we have hostesses for the parties, and those hostesses work on tips. They get paid for their time, but the real money is made in tips. And we're on the main line. We have, some pretty good tippers in our customer base. We have one hostess that's better than all the rest. And the simple reason is, and she'll be the first to tell you, when the party's over, she has talked to everybody at that party, parents included, and called them by their first name. And when they leave, and it's an amazing thing to see, and anybody can come watch this, when they walk out of an Aaron Knapp party, Aaron is saying, "Bye, Becky. Bye, Susie. Good to see you, Wendy." Every kid by name. Now, I can't pretend to say I could do that, but that's amazing. By far the most tips any other party hostess gets.
Hey, the
sales process.
That's it. All right, I think we've exhausted. We could go for days. We probably will bring this back up, but
selling's our thing. One last thing that whether it's selling or coaching, if there's anybody out there that can honestly say they've never been sold anything, that they totally made every decision on their own, then they can tell me they don't need sales. Otherwise, you need salespeople in your business. And Dave makes the point repeatedly that everybody sells. And I think that's the key takeaway, that everybody in a business sells, even if it's just calling customers by their first name.
Absolutely. Hey, if you like this podcast, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends. We like to grab a good following. We'll be talking about subject matters that help people grow businesses. So thanks for listening. This has been Paradigm Playbook.
Make it a great day.
If you have any business-related questions, feel free to send them over to us at playbook@paradigmplaybook.com. We're here to help.